fade away. These are the words that haunt me every day. How can you give up love that's wanting to stay? Stay, stay, stay. Gina, Hi everyone, welcome to Music Hills. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. I'm just going to wait for a few people to join. I hope you guys can hear me well. We are season 4, episode 5. I can't believe we're still going on strong. How is everybody out there? Let me know how you're doing. So let's see if anybody's online. Yes, Stephen, thank you for joining. How is everybody doing tonight? Music Hills, we are in already season 4. Thank you so much for all your love and support so far with Music Hills. It's just ever growing. And I actually put up a post the other day to let you guys know that even though we're just doing these monthly for now, due to my personal commitments, it's still going strong. So if there is anybody that you would like to see on Music Hills, or would like to just bring on, or maybe come on yourself and talk about what music means to you, hit me up and let's get this into the diary. So for anybody that's joining Music Hills for the very first time, I'd like to welcome you all. Just a bit of background on Music Hills itself. So my name is Rita Morar and I am a singer-songwriter based in London. And music has always been a big part of my life from the age of 8. And I've always been in and out of it. But no matter what, it's always been there for me, looking after me and just helping me through my daily day, night, traumas, even my happy times and sad times. And I've always pondered what music means to other people. So when we went down in lockdown in 2020, I decided to put a Instagram live to talk to people, just to lift their spirits up about talking about music and what it means to them. And it just grew and grew. And then we started to call it Music Hills. And here we are now in season 4. From Instagram now onto YouTube and Facebook, just for you guys. So if anybody can't join in the fun while we are live, they can always catch it back in their own time with a good quality video. So here we are. And I fund this all by myself. So if you're feeling generous, I mean, it is my birthday next week. You can buy me a coffee to help run this show, Music Hills. All independently funded, and hopefully I can just keep bringing it to you and delivering it to you with the amazing guests that I have had so far, whether they be musicians, producers, directors. They've all had a love for music. So I just want to give a few shout outs before we get Vick Bain on. I can't wait to speak to her. An absolute inspiration to me as a female artist. And we will definitely talk of what Vick has been up to and how music actually heals her as well. But before that, I would like to give a few shout outs if possible, please. Firstly to British Academy, who invited me along yesterday for their student showcase in Croydon, and I'd like to say a big thank you and well done and congratulations to Jenny, Lena, Praz and Kai for all the marvellous work they put in with their students. And basically they were little children from the ages of 5 to 14 dancing their hearts out to an array of music, and I was given the chance to also bring in my music and just share it with the audience. So thank you so much and keep up the great work that you do. It was a big lesson for me just to see how passionate the children were with their art, and it just confirmed to me how much music means to me as well. So it was just a pure joy to be there. So thank you so much, Bolifem. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that's been supporting my new track that it's actually out with Adrian Sherwood now. This song has been in the making for the past 5 years. I kid you not. Yeah, about 5 years, where Pandit Ji from ADF, Asian Dub Foundation, contacted me to say that there's a guy who would like to collaborate with you, and I didn't know who it was at the time, and I couldn't believe my luck when he told me it was Adrian Sherwood. Now, if you don't know who Adrian Sherwood is, I think you should go and check out who he is. Big in the dub world, very well respected with Onu Sound, and I was able to also collaborate with them live at the O2 Forum a couple of weeks ago. You must have seen a few videos and pictures on my Facebook if you follow me, and it was so beautiful. So basically, this album that I'm going to be part of is called Dub No Frontiers, which is out in July on Real World Records. And my single came out, the very first single came out last Friday, and it's a huge milestone for me as an independent artist to be recognised, to be able to sing in my native mother language amongst a beautiful reggae beat, an upbeat dub track, and it's out there in the world now. And I would actually like to thank the whole team behind it, whether it be Adrian, big love to Adrian, and also Matt at Real World Records, who has been supporting the whole promotion, and not forgetting Peter Harris and also Lil Williams, who put the video together. And I'm actually going to show that to you now. So please do send your hearts and any comments that you may have, and then we'll get Vick on, yeah? So enjoy this, and I will be back.
प्यार को हम
Oh, that was amazing. When Peter shared the video with us, I was absolutely blown away because I actually didn't know what to expect. And you see some amazing figures out there in the video that have changed the world for us. And I am not going to give any more information away. You need to go and see Dub No Frontiers, which will be out in July, and it'll give you all the information. So do follow Adrian Sherwood and Real World Records for that phenomenal video and this song. And please keep supporting it as well. You'll be hearing so many songs by so many females across the world. And it's just been a pure joy to be part of. So thank you so much. So shall we get our guest on for today? I'm just so honoured that I have Vick Bain joining me. Let's get Vick on. Hi, Vick.
Hi, Rita. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Really, really pleased to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, firstly, Vick. It's just an absolute honour to have you on Music Hills, and we'll be discussing why that is. So for anybody out there that doesn't know who you are, Vick, please could you give us a background of who you are and what you do?
Oh, well, I've spent 25 years working in various parts of the UK music industry. I guess some people might know me because I used to be the chief executive of a trade organisation called the British Academy of Songwriters and Composers. We owned and ran the Ivor Novello Awards. And now I've just taken over as president of the Incorporated Society of Musicians. So I do a lot of campaigning and lobbying on behalf of musicians. But really, I think how we met is because I also specifically do a lot of campaigning around diversity and inclusion in music. And that includes founding an organisation called the Flist for Music, and that supports female musicians across the UK.
That's amazing, Vick. As a female artist, you know, the work that you've put into F-List and how it's just grown, it's just been so inspiring to see. So thank you so much. And we will be talking about that later. But let's kick off. Before we do kick off, if there's anybody out there that has any questions for myself or Vick, please do put them in the comments. And even if they are after post video of being live, please do put your comments in because I will be monitoring them and also passing them to Vick as well, who can also answer them post video. So let's kick this off, Vick. What does music actually mean to you?
Well, that's such a huge question, isn't it? You know,
it is.
It's been my life, really, and ever since I was a toddler, I can remember particular songs, particular musical experiences. Really, through my teenage years, I became more passionate about music, and I realized that I wanted to make it my career.
Yeah.
That didn't go down well with my family.
And I don't think it ever does, actually.
No, they thought I was crazy. Lots of arguments with my dad, but I was very, very stubborn, and I doggedly pursued an education and career in music. So, you know, every day in music has brought another musical experience, another amazing musician or piece of music to discover, and on a daily basis that happens. So I couldn't imagine my life without music.
And how did you find when we were in lockdown that we weren't able to go to shows and listen to live music? Did that affect you in a big way, obviously, because you're so embedded within music in and out daily in your daily life?
Yes, and I think I really realized it when I was watching an opera. Actually, the New York Opera Company had they were streaming a performance of Philip Glass's Akhenaten,
Yes.
which is actually an opera I've seen in person a couple of times before. So I stood in my kitchen watching a monitor with this incredible opera, and all of the emotions just welled up in me, and I was just crying because
Yes.
I realized, that visceral power of music. I really missed live music.
Yes, yeah, and I exactly felt the same. And as being a performer myself, many of my shows were cancelled, and I actually had a BBC performance ready, and it was just that literally that week that it was actually announced that we were going in lockdown. I had to cancel it, and I felt so sad because the week before I had rehearsed with my amazing team, and it was just so hot. It was just heartbreaking. Let's just say that. And obviously, it had a big impact on the music industry. But, touch wood, we're all coming back fighting strong more than ever and just trying to turn it all around, I guess. So, Vic, let's start from you mentioned at a very young age, as a toddler. I mean, I don't expect you to share a memory with me when you're a toddler, but can you remember any early years of, when music did touch you, like when you were with your family, or were was there a particular memory that you remember?
Well, yes, that very, very early experience. The very first time I can remember hearing music was I was in the garden playing, and it was sunny, and through the window I could hear "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles.
Wow.
And it was just such a vivid memory because it's such a joyous song. So I think even as a very small child, that really affected me. And then the next memory I have, maybe a few years later, but was my step grandfather, who had fought in World War II, and
Yes.
he was teaching me army songs, marching
Oh,
songs,
wow.
in, in the living room. And he had been a piano teacher. Actually, I didn't realize it at the time. I was told much later, because he died when I was very young as well. But
Oh, bless
I remember marching away, and the look of joy on his face was amazing. So I think it really, as a small child, I realized the power of music, and it just
Yes.
always stayed with me.
And how it actually sticks with you, like, till this day. And I just saw your face light up when you just mentioned him as well. So that was just so beautiful to see. So when you mentioned that, when you told your family that you wanted to go into music, were you thinking of going down the musical route in terms of being a performer yourself? Or yeah, okay.
Yes, yes. So
Interesting.
I trained as a musician
Yes.
in the early 90s, but I had to leave home to do that. My father just wasn't really accepting that I was going to go down that route. So yes, I spent six years training in theatre and music,
Yes.
classical music, and yeah, I had an absolutely fantastic time. All of those years. I mean, it was basically just playing dressy up for 6 years.
Yeah, yeah. So was it a particular theatre you were company you were part of, or was it just with your studies and then you were able to go out and like just be on the field?
With my studies in the northeast of England, both at Newcastle College and at Gateshead College, what later became the Sage in Gateshead.
Yes.
And in that, during my time, especially when I was doing my BA, I was working with a professional composer called Robin Story, and we released some albums which did quite well. And
Oh, well
so,
done.
yeah, so I was very much coming at it determined to be a performer. But then I moved to London, and within a matter of weeks realised I was just never going to be able to support myself, certainly at that stage, purely by performing.
Yes.
So I thought, right, I'm gonna work in the business side, and then
Yes.
and then that's what I've done for 25 years.
That's just amazing, like to be able to hold yourself within music, within the business aspect side of it is very you have to work very hard in terms of, as you know, that like how you have to move forward, and then the networking, and then just gradually just putting your name out there. How did you find the transition, Vic, with, from being a performer to business? Did you find it was just straightforward, or did you have to do a lot of research and a lot of studying? What was the journey like with that transition?
It was, I knew I had a management, a business head on, because all of the performances that I had been involved in as a student, I was directing as well.
Oh, okay.
So I was always the one in charge, telling other people what to do, organising, leading. And in fact, I had become president of my student union as well, which at the time was the largest further education college in the country.
Yes.
So I really got a taste for campaigning at that point. So when I started working a few years later, started working for the British Academy, I really it really felt congruent, where I really felt like, yes, campaigning on behalf of musicians. This is what I was meant to do.
Yes, wow. So what was your first job, or like what did you go into when you did start to see the business side of what you wanted to do?
Well, my very first job in London, I actually ended up. Well, I have to explain. I mean, I moved to London with knowing no one, having no job. I hadn't even met the people I moved in with. I'd only spoken to them briefly on the phone, and I had £500 savings in total. That was it. So it was sink or swim. So the very first job I got was working in a big chain of secondhand record stores called the Music and Video Exchange.
Yes.
Mainly based in Notting Hill, and everyone was music crazy there. So it was actually a really brilliant place to work, because everybody was a music nerd, a music geek. Everyone was in a band or DJing, or in fact, the very first person I employed was Zane Lowe.
Oh, wow. Okay, yes, of MTV, who went on to
exactly.
Yes,
exactly. And BBC One, and now Apple Music.
Apple Music, yes.
Exactly. Wow. So it was a fantastic melting pot to meet other people who were crazy about.
Yes. So then, okay, you started out in there, and then did you have an eye for other areas, or how did that fall? Because you have so many hats on as well, Vic. It's very inspiring, again, as a female artist, to see that which way music can help you move forward, and how did that happen?
I did a bit of temping, because I didn't want to stay working in a record store forever. That was just to sort of find my feet. So I did temping in various arts organisations, which was smashing. And I ended up at the Royal Festival Hall in the music department there for a while.
Wow.
So that was very nice.
That's amazing if you think about it, Vic. You came to London knowing nobody, with £500, as you said, in your hand, and then now you're working for the most prestigious venue within London for music. Yeah, that's crazy. Do you have like a pinch me moment at times as well, Vic, when you were like getting these opportunities?
Well, that was that was fantastic, and I just thought, this is great. This is where I'm meant to be, but. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a curveball, because about 3 or 4 months into that job, I then discovered I was pregnant with twins.
Oh, wow.
But then, unfortunately, my boyfriend, my partner at the time, sort of faded away from the scene. So I realised I was going to end up a single parent.
Yes.
And so then, I lost everything again.
Oh, Vic.
to be honest.
Yes,
I
yeah.
lost my job. I lost everything. So I really then had to rebuild rebuild everything when my children were small, and rebuild, with the restrictions of having to sort out childcare and find a job that was going to be flexible enough for me to get back on my career path again. So that was,
Yes.
that was a bit of a curveball.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me asking, was that in the 80s or 90s that this actually happened? Because obviously, where we are now in the world, that music is accepted a bit more, if that makes sense. But at that time, it must have been very hard for you as a woman, as a single mother, to just keep pursuing music. And it's just so inspiring to hear. I didn't know you had that curveball.
Yes,
Was it your
yes.
fortitude for music, the love of music, that basically kept you going in terms of just keep pushing on and plowing through it all?
Yes, I was so determined and ambitious. It did. Yes, it did. um, it did stop me in my tracks for a little while, but not for very long, to be quite honest. And yeah, so I had them at the end of 1999,
Okay.
and uh, I think they were about 2 years old by the time I sorted out another job with proper childcare so that I could get back on track again. And then,
Yes.
to be honest, it really made me even more determined, having children. So I was ambitious before, but then I became really, really ambitious.
Yeah, there's like something that wakes up within you that you think, okay, it's now or never. I'll just keep going through this all, and as I mentioned, the fortitude and just the adversity of like all the curveballs that were coming past you, that you still plowed on through, and that's just so inspiring. I have a question from Kevin here. Thank you, Kevin. Do you still play any instruments? It'll be good to know, actually.
No, I don't really. I
Thank
had to
you.
play piano to a certain level, but
Yes,
my main instrument was voice,
yes.
and it's been a long time since I've sang. I have to say, I did end up joining the London Bulgarian Choir.
Yes.
So I sang with them between 2003 and 2010, and then all of my studies and my career, just and my and my parenting
Yes.
responsibilities meant that I
Yeah.
couldn't commit to something which was so demanding.
Yeah.
So I've done bits with friends, but not really any proper performances
Yes.
since 2010.
Oh, nice. But it will always stay within you, I think. If I won't tell you to sing, I won't ask you to sing, so don't worry about that. But maybe, next time if you do come on Music Hills, maybe we can have a little line. No, I'm only joking. Thank you so much, Kevin, for that. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, Vic, so you said that, you moved forward from like a performer to then into the business. And now that, as I mentioned, you have many hats on. And what do you find most challenging being in the business side of things with music? But then what do you actually enjoy as well? Yeah, best of both worlds, really.
I love working with creative people. That's always been very important to me. So I eventually went and studied for a master's in business administration and an MBA, and I was on an intake of about 60 or 70 people, and everybody was very corporate. They were finance, they were manufacturing, they were military, they were all sorts of sectors. And, so the principles are the same, but I know in my heart I would be miserable if I had to go and work in any of those other sectors. I need to be around, creative people.
Yeah.
And discovering, as I said earlier, discovering new music, listening to new music every day, and just marveling at how incredible people are. That comes out of their heads and their hearts.
Yes. Yes. Um, do you find that your music taste has changed over the years, with what you listen to?
But I loved the alternative. So I grew up in the 80s, and I was a teenager in the 80s, and so what I really loved was all of the goth and
Oh,
the indie rock music, all of the dark, atmospheric music, and good quality pop. And then I went to college and trained in classical music, so that was a real learning experience for me, learning that repertoire. And then, especially when I started working for the British Academy, which was an organisation representing songwriters and composers from all genres, then I really started to learn all about contemporary classical composers, not just the old dead guys from hundreds of years ago, but the living composers, and many female living composers
yes.
right now. So that was just a total revelation and really, really exciting. And also film music, in television, film music, media, computer game soundtracks. Again, really appreciating the quality and the range of music that goes into those scores. So I think I've just, my brain is just widened.
The horizon has just opened up for you in terms of the music. It's true what you say though regarding schools, and obviously we're so drawn by the cinematography of many films, and how series are like shown on BBC or the BBC or the ITV or whatever channel. But I always look out for music whether they be like commercials or films, and I get really drawn into it as well. So I totally understand where you're coming from, Vic, in terms of scores and just the music that's just portraying that emotion as well. I think that's incredibly vital to understand the emotion that's been trying to put out there, what we're watching. My husband often finds me trying to Shazam and that's keeping like commercial ads. Like I can't find what this song is. There was a particular song, I think it was from the Turkish Airlines that came out 2 years ago, and for the life of me, I could not find it. And then I literally had to put it on Twitter. Anybody knows who this song is by? And I had actually about 5 people reply back to me. So it's just amazing just how music just like connects so many people on so many levels. Are there any scores out there that come to your mind that really touched you? I mean, for me, it was The Village by M. Shyamalan. I don't know if you've heard it, but there's a key violinist within the score, the music, that's just touched my heart, and it stayed with me since I heard it. But are there any films? Can you name any that really touched you?
I think the very first movie score which really left an impression with me, and actually there's a real world connection here, is Peter Gabriel's
Yes.
Passion,
Yes.
which was the soundtrack for I think it was about Jesus Christ.
Yes.
But his Passion album was so fantastic. I was with a good friend of mine in America. I went to high school in America, and we were driving along, and this incredible drumming and pipe work music started playing on this radio station, and it was so amazing. We pulled over to the side of the road and sat and listened intently to this. We'd heard nothing like that before. Being brought up on pop music.
Yes.
It was. I think it was my first exposure to what was then called world music.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And it was the first album that was released on Real World. So that has always stayed with me. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, amazing! I'll have to definitely check that out. I grew up on Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush. Obviously they did the song "Don't Give Up," and But what I loved was just how Kate Bush was totally out of the box. And do you find with music, Vic, that there are boxes that you can put, okay, we have genres, but how do you feel about, because being part of the music industry, that can you actually put music in a box, or do you have to open, like, keep your mind and heart open, and how do you feel about that?
I think all of the best musical geniuses, the musicians who make us take leaps forward, are the ones who straddle those boxes, who jump from one box to the next. And yes, Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush both have done that all through their careers. And in fact, Kate Bush worked with some Bulgarian singers called the Trio Bulgarka
Yes, yes,
in
I
the in
remember.
the in the 80s on the Red Shoes album. And the Trio Bulgarka, it was one of their albums that I first heard in the mid 90s when I was studying music, and it blew my mind.
Wow.
I was like, this, what is this sound? These it sounds like aliens, but magical and beautiful aliens, and I want to sing like that. So that's why years later I ended up singing with the London Bulgarian Choir.
That's
Because,
amazing. That still stayed with you to be part
yes,
of that. How different were they? It's very interesting that you said that the Bulgarian choir, I mean, did they have different ways of singing? Or I don't know if you've ever been in another choir, but yeah, it's very intriguing to hear.
well, I'd sang, all through my teenage years and early 20s. I'd sang with church choirs, very Western classical choirs. The Newcastle Bach choir I sang with for a good 2 or 3 years. So it's a very particular singing style. So to then start singing Bulgarian, it was the total opposite. Totally, yeah. Really, physically, it was, where the sound comes out, and how you vibrate around your face.
Yes,
So
yes.
it was a real challenge, but a real thrill as well.
I think I'm going to give everybody that tunes in post the video to go and check out a Bulgarian choir, which I am going to as well, and I'll feed back to you as well, Vic.
I'd send you
If
some
and if I
links.
can do it. So let's move on to out of the box. Let's talk about F list, Vic. I think it'll just bring it on lovely to just talk about that. And for anyone out there who knows about the F list, what you should do. This is something that actually connected myself and Vic, and this is how I got to know about Vic as well, through the F list, because I started to see, Vic, before we actually got in touch with each other, I started to see this list. As a female artist, I'm always forever trying to find ways independently to put myself out there, because again, I don't fit in a box. I sing Hindi and English. That's my forte. But however, you've probably seen that I do a spin on my music, whether it be electronic to even reggae to even like the normal Bollywood. So that's how I was able to come across the F list, and I just couldn't believe that. Wow, there is a list just on female musicians and artists. But why don't you give us a bit of background on F list and where it came from, and why did you set it up, and who should be part of it?
I think really it was my lockdown project,
Oh, okay.
and
I think we
because
all brought like things out in lockdown, which is amazing.
I had, like you, I'd lost all of my work. I was doing a national tour of diversity in music presentations and workshops, and it had been 6 months in the planning, and within 3 days I lost all of that. I was in shock, I think, for the first few weeks. And then I had already published a Google spreadsheet of names, like maybe a week or two before lockdown, and that had come out of research that I had published the October before, so 3-4 months prior, and it was called Counting the Music Industry. And I had done a massive, what I call a gender audit of over 300 UK record labels and music publishing companies, because I wanted to see how many women they had signed, how many women they were supporting or not supporting, and the statistics were grim. So only 14% of music publishing company rosters, and this is works in of living composers, 14% were women, and for record labels, the artists they had signed across all genres was 20% women. So that's 80% men. I was pretty shocked, and I think the music industry was pretty shocked when I published that. That data as well. But out of all of that data, I had a very detailed understanding of who was signed. I mean, basically, I had studied each roster and had everybody's names, and so I extracted all of the women out of this research and published it as a Google spreadsheet and made it public. And I did that because I wanted people to understand how many women there were out there. So I think in that initial list I had about 3,500 women, and the BBC News team got a hold of the story and wrote this lovely story about it. So it all went nuts, really, because everyone was like, "Oh, that's where all the women are."
Yes,
right? That's where all the women are. Because for years I've been reading these newspaper interviews of especially festival promoters saying,
I was going to say,
there are no women. We asked them all. we asked them all. You say, well, this is it. You can read these.
Actually,
or women don't play guitars, or
oh
women don't play in bands, or all of these excuses. So by publishing this list, I had a way of saying, well, you're wrong. All of these women do exist. They might not be a very high proportion of the rosters, but here they are. And then I had hundreds of women contact me and say, how can I get on this list?
Including me. I remember that Google list.
Yeah. So I then and then lockdown happened, and I thought, okay, so what I need to do is make this list into a really fantastic website where people can create their own listings and join very easily, and it has to look brilliant, and it has to have fantastic search functionality, and it needs to be a not-for-profit organization as well, because this has to be just more than a list.
Yes.
It has to be a movement. So I spent the next 6 months obsessively working on it all and getting funding to help me put it all together. So in November 2020, it launched with Anushka Shankar as our inaugural president. And so it then, really just snowballed, and I've got nearly 5,500.
Oh my gosh, that is phenomenal! I didn't expect. I don't know what I expected, but just 5,000. That is just
over 5,000 musicians. There's about 300 company listings, so nearly 5,200 musicians.
Oh my gosh.
Every single day, women sign up. I've had 2 or 3 sign up today, create listings today, and it's in all genres of music. That's really important to me.
Yes.
That it's all genres, and I love it.
How did you find? Did you actually expect such a raw, I don't know, welcoming for the F list? Did you envisage just the power that it was going to bring out for us female artists, musicians?
No, not really. I didn't. I knew it was going to be a positive tool, because when I published my Counting the Music Industry research, I think I was delivering the bad news. So
Roll up the sleeves, right? This is what it's about. Yeah, yeah.
I
But
was
sometimes it
not
has to happen
popular.
though, Vic, like putting
Yeah.
yourself into that position to actually say, actually, and it takes a lot of courage to do that as well.
I definitely felt a frosty reception from some people, and felt that a few people had crossed me off their Christmas card list
Oh,
because I
okay.
was, yeah, it was,
Mm.
it was not a good look, I think, on the music industry. So
Yes.
so I was delivering the bad news, but with the F list, I've been delivering the good news.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's a much more positive, it's a correction, to to the music industry. Okay, so we haven't been good with signing and booking and promoting women, but here they all are. This is where you can find them. So you use this tool to improve things across the industry. So yeah, it's been a much more positive experience delivering the good news.
Oh no, it's just been wonderful just to see how it's moved forward. And if there are any female artists out there, please do contact the F list. I mean, the information is there. You can contact me as well because I'm actually part of the F list, and you can too be part of this amazing initiative. I'm just so blown away, Vic, by you can imagine how excited. This is why I'm so excited to speak to you, because your my background is just forever just trying to fight to be heard as a not only just a female artist, but an independent female artist, but not only as a female independent artist, as a South Asian artist as well. So when they hear my voice, they think Bhangra, or a Bhangra or Bollywood, and that's not my fault because that's not my identity. And then so when I present them what I do, they're like, yeah, but you're Asian, you shouldn't be doing this. And it's like, actually look out the box, because this is, here I am. It's just, like your reaction to listening to hear my voice. It was just amazing just to hear that I could actually deliver something different that you haven't heard, and maybe a lot of people haven't heard. So it's always that element of surprise, and so just to have something like the F list to show that there are one or two, because I have been challenged within the industry as well, that that where are all the female artists on your festivals, where are they billed, and not just one or two, there are so many others out there. And that there's the likes of Sunny and Shay, who are on BBC Radio London, who've always advocated that as well, to just bring out so many other South Asian female artists out there. How important is it for you, Vic, to have that representation of showing the females out there? And, like from what you said about your report, and, how is it now being received in terms of like festivals? And do you feel that there will be a trend of like many female artists being featured now, whether it be festivals or shows?
I do think there's a lot of pressure on festivals, because they are so visible. Their
Yeah.
post their posters, their lineups, which are their marketing tools, are very visible.
Mm.
And if they are failing to have diverse lineups, they're being called out.
Mm.
So that's not good for their reputation or their long-term success. So I do think festivals and music companies in general have woken up and realized that they need to do better.
Yes. Amazing. So as I said, guys, if there are any female artists out there, contact myself or contact Vic, and you've got the F list information there. And it's so beautiful to see, Vic, especially in this day and age that we are supporting. I know there's been a lot of initiatives out there, women supporting each other, but it hasn't only been that. There's so many people that are just waking up to see that there are many more artists out there that have their own sound but are female, and then they can carry it themselves as well. So on the behalf of all the female artists out there, I'd just like to say thank you so much, for starting an initiative like this and all the research and everything that you show, because, we don't have many voices out there that show this side of aspect of the business. When I started actually music, Vic, I didn't actually think it was a business. And it wasn't even me being naive. It was just purely being for the love of music. I was actually saying to my husband yesterday that my artist name is Rita Morar because I didn't anticipate to get to where I am as an independent artist. So for me to have that support and backing from Flist and the amazing likes like you, it just makes us, just want to create more, like learn the piano and like just put up a studio together. So thank you so much for that, Vic.
It's an absolute pleasure, and hearing positive feedback like that just feeds my soul and keeps me going and makes what I do such a pleasure.
Yes. That's a joy, I guess, being part of music and being part of Flist, that you get to change people's lives. If anything, I know it sounds so dramatic, but you really do, because it just opens the eyes of many people and their ears that there's not just one particular kind of genre. There's so many genres, as you mentioned, on the Flist, and like what we're all putting out there and stuff. So yeah, thank you so much. If any of you have any questions, please do put them in the comments, or if you are enjoying this, make sure you do hit us up. We've got the amazing Vick Bain with us, and I'm just so honoured. So thank you, Vic, for being here. So let's move on to Song of Solace. I think I've been looking forward to this one. So if this is the first time you've joined, hi, my name is Rita Morar, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and I started Music Heals back in 2020 when lockdown first occurred. We are into season 4 of Music Heals now, where we talk about, with an amazing creative, what music means to them. And today I have Vick Bain with me. As you can see, there's been no script here. We've been just literally talking. I could talk for music. I'm sure you could too. I think if you put myself and Vic in one corner, we'd probably still be there a week just talking about music and just ordering drinks away. So yeah, this is how I can just imagine it. But the few questions that I do get my guests to prepare is one thing that is called Song of Solace. Now, Song of Solace started off as a joke because I was asking my guests, what song gives you great energy? And then it ended up being a whole playlist on Spotify. So I asked this question to my creative individual: what particular song brings out the great energy in you? And if we were getting in a car today, I'd say, Vic, what are we going to put on, and something that brings out the goodness of that person and they just feel happy, or it gives them great energy. And I've been able to compile this Spotify playlist called #MusicHeals. So I had to just carry on with the #MusicHeals. And I've got over 70 songs on there. And these songs are not just my favorites, they're the favorites of everybody that's been on Music Heals. So this has been put together by all those creative, amazing souls that have been part of Music Heals. And please do go and check it out, whether it be Bob Marley to a little bit of steps, to a bit of Mozart, to some religious songs. You'll find each and every song has given solace to somebody out there that's living in our world. And that's just so beautiful to see. So obviously I had to ask this question to Vic. So Vic, how did you narrow it down? Actually, you're very quick compared to all my other guests. Did it go through your mind, what song to go through? Or did you have like a list? Or did you just know straight away what your song was?
I didn't know straight away. I really had to think about it, actually. And what I didn't... Yeah, there's so many different pieces of music I use for different emotions.
Yes.
But this particular track is one of my favorites, has been one of my favorites for nearly 30 years. Is beautiful, and it makes me happy, and I find it's very it's very spiritual as well, even though it's electronic pop. And it really is, I think, one of those out of the box.
Yes, yeah. Should we say? I'll tell everybody which one it is. Let's show them.
Yes, water from a vine leaf with the great William Albert and Beth Orton, and the lyrics are so beautiful and so, she really paints a picture with her lyrics and her singing. It's just gorgeous.
So beautiful. And actually, when Vic actually told me about this song, and I'm a big fan of William Orbit anyway, because of what the music and the production that he has been involved in with Madonna. And as you all know, I love Madonna. So it was just so beautiful to see that, that again, another person has been touched by William Orbit, and it's just so beautiful. So make sure you guys go and check that out. It's going to be after our session. It's going to be on the Spotify playlist, and Vic, I'll send you this playlist. Sorry, I was supposed to send it to you and I didn't. But if you guys find my profile under Rita Morar, you'll be able to find this playlist, and Vic will be putting that beautiful song on. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And another question, actually. Well, this is not something that I've got Vic to prepare, but I prepared that it's coming. So it's something that we started off in season 3 and season 4, and it's literally a quick fire round. Out of 2 options, which one would you go for, and the reason why? So Vic, are you ready now for your
Okay.
Yeah, okay, let's see now. Let me bring up the list and hopefully I can find it straight away. Here we go. It's not that bad, I promise you. All right. Festivals or parties?
Gosh, I love both, but I think it has to be festivals. There's something about being outside in nature. There's nothing beats it.
Oh, nothing beats it, yeah. And I can tell you that even if you fall in the mud head over, which I have, and I've been stuck at Glastonbury. Lyrics or the melody?
Wow, it just after, gosh, that's so hard. I've heard this debate lots working with songwriters, and I do have to say it's probably the melody, because that tends to be what sticks in your head. Although a good lyric like "Water from a Vine Leaf,"
Yes.
Oh gosh, it has to be melody, I think.
Oh, okay, melody. We'll stick with melody.
Just
Blossoms or daffodils?
daffodil's my favourite flower.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so
That's amazing.
It's got to be daffodil.
That's brilliant.
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
I didn't know that. So the reason why I do daffodil, because blossoms are my favourite. I know. I don't know why I said it. In fact, I was actually going to put roses, but I thought, well, let me put daffodils. Why do you like daffodils, Vic?
Because it's springtime, and it's, and they're just glorious, aren't they? They're yellow,
like
everywhere. They're happy. Yes.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joyful.
Let's see. Piano or guitar?
Probably. I mean, I really have to think about this.
I love this.
I think probably piano. I find. Yes, I think probably piano. To me, it's more of a range, more calmer.
Yes. I would play something for you today, but I'm not in the mood today. Someone else wouldn't do any justice, and my piano teacher would not be happy with me. Sorry, Hin. Okay, couple more. Home cooked or takeouts?
Home cooked. Definitely.
Girl after my heart, totally. It must
definitely.
have been so weird. Like, I don't know, you're probably used to it, but I wasn't. Like, lockdown, we used to have takeout here and there, and all of a sudden I realised I'm having to cook like every day. Not saying I don't cook, but everyone knows I cook. But it was hard. It was so hard, but I absolutely love now cooking. Like the array of like recipes and the ingredients we can find. It seemed very interesting. Okay, couple more. Stroll in the park or walk by the beach?
Walk by the beach.
Why would you say that, Vic?
And that's because I live pretty close to the sea. Pretty close to the sea. So it's I think one of the things, apart from music, it was one of the things that kept me going through lockdown, was the fact that, a mile or so through town or these breathtaking beaches, and they're so beautiful.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, one more. I've just thought of this. Blondie or Kate Bush? I told you it wouldn't be easy.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh my goodness.
We love them both. I'm just putting
Yes,
that out there. We love them both. But should I have one tape in my hand? Or
has to be Kate. Has to be Kate Bush.
Ah.
Has to be Kate Bush.
Can
I
we
mean,
take it
she's
further? Can we take it further with a song? Okay, is there any particular song?
oh, gosh, what any song. I mean, well, I think Wuthering Heights
Yes.
just springs to mind, because that was that was all of our introduction
Yes.
to her wonderful
Yeah.
wonderful voice, and
Yeah.
it was the first number one that was self-penned by a female British artist,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
it was the first. She won the first Ivor Novello Award again as a solo female songwriter. So it was
Wow.
incredibly
Yeah.
important in terms of songwriting history. So yeah, she's just a superstar.
Amazing. Even at that time, she brought out synth sounds, didn't she, Vic? Like, and just shook up the whole world really with what she was putting out there. Again, it was out of the box really. And, I was watching this documentary on her, and it was just so beautiful to see, again, as a female artist, to see that. Though, yeah, I would go for Kate Bush. I love Blondie, a little bit of karaoke with Blondie, but, hands down, I think I'm more of a Kate Bush running up that hill kind of lady. And that's your quick fire round. Yay. Well done. See, you survived it. It wasn't that hard. Hey, if you guys have any questions, like in terms of like the options that you'd like me to put for my guests, just hit them up. Let me know, and then I'll add them on to the next guest's quick fire round. Yeah, and that was Vic's quick fire round. So anyone that's tuning in, hi, I'm Rita Morar, and we've got Vick Bain in the house on Music Hills, and we're coming up to the end now, and I can't believe this just gone, an hour's nearly gone. Before you go, Vic, this is something I also finish off, asking my guests, because I think it's so crucial, because many people that join Music Hills are budding artists or budding musicians, and sometimes they do not have not the business acumen, but just they don't understand, how to move forward within their career, or so we give them some nuggets if we can. So if there was somebody that was starting out, say a female artist, Vic, what 3 pointers would you give to them to do? And then they can take it away with them.
Well, specifically for a female artist, I would urge them to create a listing on the Flist directory.
Yeah, where's the banner?
and that taps them into a whole world of opportunities and events and so on. So that's number one. But really, for any musician of any gender,
Yes.
networking,
Yeah.
networking. Make as many contacts as possible, and there's lots of different ways of doing that. Different conferences and online. We run a quarterly networking event online with the F List, and just get to know as many people as possible. And then I would also say, and I know this sounds obvious, but it's not just in business, but through your whole life, treat others how you would like to be treated yourself.
Yes, that it's, and just be yourself. And
Yourself.
yeah, I think that's the most humbling point that you can put out there, Vic, just to treat others and be kind. And that's how you move forward, I think. And then that's how you'll be able to network and grow your network and get to know of opportunities as well. And then, yeah, for those female artists, please do sign up to the F list, which information is there, and which I'll also put as a comment on YouTube and also Facebook. And there you have it. This is Vick Bain on Music Hills. Vic, thank you so much for being part of today. I absolutely always am inspired. Whenever I see anything on F list, I get really excited with the newsletters as well, because I'm always like, oh, what opportunities are there? What is what is happening in the world of music as a, being part of a community. And, I have this sense of belonging now that I am part, and I am a musician, because I used to actually undersell myself as well, Vic. I used to just call myself a singer-songwriter, only when somebody pointed out to me and said, no, actually, Rita, you are a producer and you actually write your own music, hence, my EP coming out in lockdown. So I just thank you so much for all that encouragement that not only do you give, but you're the group of F List, all the ambassadors, and even Anushka Shankar has always been a favorite of mine as well. Growing up to her father's music, the legacy, just to see that is just so heartwarming. So I just want to say thank you so much. But I hope you've enjoyed your time on the Music Hills. I told you it wouldn't be the same as other interviews that you may have done.
It was an absolute pleasure, Rita. Thank you so much for asking me on. And yes, such a pleasure to talk about music that has moved me and what music means to me. Yes, I don't think I've had an interview quite like that. It's been lovely.
I'm glad. Would you come back on Music Hills, maybe say if it's still carrying on, like maybe, in a 6 months time, just to let us know what's been going on with the F list and how you've been getting on as well. It'd be lovely to have you back on at some point as well, Vic.
Of course.
Vic, if anybody would like to follow you, where can they find you and how can they connect with you?
Well, on social media, I think I'm the only Vick Bain. Yes. So on Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram, they can just search for Vick Bain, or they can contact me via the F List website as well.
Yeah. Let's put that back up. So the F List. So anyone out there that's just budding to be an artist or just be heard, just contact Vic on the F List and we will get you on there. Such a pleasure, Vic. Thank you so much for being part of Music Hills today. I really do appreciate it, and I will speak to you very soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
So that was the amazing Vic. Oh my God, I'm so inspired by everything I've learned today about Vic. And there's not many people that will show you the way in terms of supporting each other and just showing just how hard it is to be in the music industry. So it's really refreshing and the honest truth to understand that where Vic has come from and what she had to fight for in terms of being heard in music and just staying part of music, and that's so inspiring. So I hope you guys have actually enjoyed this session. I know I have. I've got so many things going on in my head. I think I need to make myself a cup of tea and sit down and take it all in. But thank you so much for joining me today, Rita Morar. If you've got any guests that would like to be part of Music Hills, or you would like to be part of Music Hills, hit me up and then let's get you one. But I'll be back maybe in June, but definitely in July. Look after yourself, guys, and remember to keep supporting the artists that you love out there and just keep spreading the name about for Music Hills. All right, guys, take care. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.